Tusk. It's a 2014 film that I just got done watching. This is written and directed by Kevin Smith. And man, where the fuck do I start with this movie? The plot is we meet this guy, Wallace, who's played by Justin Long. Him, along with his best friend Teddy, they're podcasters, which, to be honest, from what I've heard, you can make a pretty decent living if you're good at podcasting. So that's what these guys do. And what Wallace is doing is he's going to take a trip to Canada because he wants to go out and interview this kid who they've been making fun of on their podcast, and this kid's willing to talk to him. But when he gets there, this kid died. Whoops. So now he feels like this whole trip, this whole thing was a bust until he finds this note in the bathroom of a bar of this guy who says that he has all of these great stories and adventures that he wants to share with whoever is willing to listen. So Justin Long goes, holy shit, this is a gold mine. I'm going to go to this guy's house and talk to him and get a pretty crazy story for my show. Until when he gets there, it's not too long before he finds out the hard way that this guy is pretty fucked up. He's sick, he's twisted in the head, and he wants to turn Justin Long into a walrus. Yeah. So what I thought of this movie was, what the fuck did I just get done watching? I can't even begin to describe this movie. Look, the first half of it I was actually into. When we were getting to know Justin Long's character, I was interested in how, like, the scenes, the flashbacks with his girlfriend, played by Genesis Rodriguez, who, bless her heart, she is a great actress, and she is really the only heart and soul of this movie. And man, she tries to take this and make something out of it. She's in these several scenes crying her eyes out, and you feel bad for her as a character because she is Justin Long's girlfriend. There's a couple of scenes of her talking to him and saying how much she misses the old version of him, who was more down to earth and just was more relatable. Now he's kind of a douchebag because he has to be this person for his podcast, and it's what's making him money, so he's a little jaded. And so that character stuff I was into, I was enjoying. And then you have his best friend, played by Haley Joel Osment. Wow. Remember the little kid from The Sixth Sense? Yeah, well, he grew up, and I guess he still acts. I didn't fucking know. I barely recognized him until I saw his name. So there you go. And when Justin Long goes to Canada and meets this guy, Howard Howe, played by Michael Parks, who, I mean, I've seen in a lot of stuff, so he's a good actor. And when you initially meet him and he's telling his stories, and then after this whole ball starts rolling, and the one scene where he talks about his past, the horrible experiences that happened to him as a kid, and you can kind of figure out why he is so fucked up in the way that he is and why he's doing what he's doing. So there was moments where this movie was kind of working, I guess. And before I get to any negative stuff, I want to also mention Johnny Depp is randomly in this movie. And when I say random, he just shows up as this inspector guy who has been searching, investigating this person who I guess uses a different name with every case. He's killed over 20 people, and it's the same MO. The cops don't really seem too interested in doing anything about it. Johnny Depp's the only person doing it. So I guess I was just surprised at how he came out of nowhere, and his character was so weird himself. A lot of his scenes seemed to be played up for comedy, and sure, they made me laugh for what they were, but that's where I'm going to get to some of the negative stuff. Before I get to the obvious thing, one thing that was really confusing about this movie was what it was trying to be. Is this just a fucking joke. Because I'd say for the first half when I was into it, it was pretty scary, and it was creepy, and it was playing up some obvious and real fears of not only just going to a different country, albeit Canada. I've always wanted to go to Canada. So the whole seeing this guy who, sure, he's not a likable person. He's cheating on his girlfriend, who seems like the best girl ever. So fuck him, right? But still, seeing what happens to him, how he's drugged and taken and gets his leg cut off, and just the psychosis of this crazy person who is doing this stuff to him, that was sick, and that was creepy. But then you have other moments that are just so dumb and so silly. And sure, like I said, I was laughing like with the Johnny Depp character, but then there was other moments that was just too much. There isn't a good balance between the horror and the jokes, the goofiness of the film. Let's, I guess, get to near the end. I mean, I don't know how much I'm giving away. Honestly, I don't care. You see the finished product of Justin Long, of how this guy has surgically removed not only his legs, but he's like stitched his arms to his body. And there's one moment where you see the beginnings of it, and it looks horrifying. It looks creepy. It looks pretty real. But then you go to him as a walrus. And I guess it's supposed to be human flesh stitched and grafted on, and it's just supposed to be the shape of an actual walrus. And it looks fucking horrible. I don't know if that was the point, that it was supposed to look over the top and silly, but that's where I get confused, you know? You start the movie off so horrifying to end with such a lame, weird, clearly terrible costume. It's Justin Long in a fucking costume. But I'm supposed to sit there and think, holy crap, he's turning into a walrus. He's acting like this. He's doing this and that. It immediately took me out of this movie, if I was even in. I was giving it the benefit of the doubt. Some people told me that they really liked this movie. And I was saying, okay, there's stuff here. And then by the end of it, I was just kind of like, what the fuck am I watching? In the credits of Kevin Smith, who does podcasts now. And I guess this came from a crazy idea that him and the other guy had. And it sounds like they're high. And they just thought of this idea that they think is the funniest idea ever, and they put it to a vote to fans to say, hey, do you want to see us make this movie? Of course they said yes. Kevin Smith is in the position where he can make a movie like this. Hey, good for him. I'm not going to lie and say that there wasn't creepy moments to it that reminded me maybe of Hostel or The Human Centipede, more likely, but still, at the end of the day, this movie turned into a fucking joke. And if I were to rate this movie, I'm going to have to give it some old bullshit. I can't believe people thought this movie was awesome. It could have been awesome. It started off kind of interesting, but man, this ending is fucking horrible. And it's laughable. It's not like I'm pissed. It's not like I'm like, oh, fuck this movie. I'm just kind of like baffled over what I just saw. So guys, let me know in the comments below if you saw this movie. What did you think of it? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later.